Top of the morning to you, my friends. And it looks like a absolutely gorgeous day ahead of us. Just check out that morning sky. Want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. You know, I've been seeing a lot of videos out recently. Some really good videos showing you how to make raised beds, and I got to thinking, you know, I should probably put in my 2 cents here. I've had quite the experience building many different types of raised beds throughout the years. I've had wood raised beds, cinder blocks raised beds, retaining wall, brick raised beds, but by far my favorite out of all the different types that I've had is the hugelkultur raised bed. Hugelkultur is a German concept word meaning hill culture or mound culture. It's been in practice for many years, and I tell you, it's quite brilliant. There's many reasons why it's become my favorite method of raised bed gardening. For one, you can build these beds completely free, no cost to you. And the way it's done, typically what you're going to do, you don't have to do the trenching, but I recommend doing that. I've tried both ways, and trenching definitely gives you a better overall end product. But you want to trench down the width of the size of your bed, the length, the size of your bed, about 2 to 3 feet deep. You're going to take that excavated soil and you're going to set it aside, and you're going to start piling in branches, stumps, different plant material that you may have pulled from the garden that is expired, drying up. And you're going to start mixing in some of that soil that you excavated in with those materials, and you're just going to keep on adding in some more woody materials and building the soil up around it until what you have is a mound, a little hill. You can see with these hugelkultur beds here that I've actually got walls on the side now where I've used some tree branches and some metal stakes and just kind of weave those branches in between. But for years I didn't have an actual sidewall on these beds, but rather I would use plant material like the purple tree collards on this side. There are no branching, but I would grow plants like this that become woody, and I still use this method. And I'll just kind of, over time, train them to create a retaining wall on the side of the bed. I love the natural appearance, but the greatest benefit is the water retention. It may take a little bit of time for the wood products that you put in the middle of the hugel to break down, but once they do, they become sponge-like. They uptake the water throughout the winter months, catching all that rain, soaking into the wood, and that wood will evaporate the water throughout the hotter summer months. And so the combination of that evaporation and the plants that you're getting established on the mound growing deeper roots equates to a lot less watering, although there are some other things you're going to want to consider, like densely planting your hugel, making sure you've got living mulches or at least a nice density of plants growing all across the top and the sides of your hugel mounds. This is going to prevent them from drying out too quickly on the surface. But as all these products start breaking down, it just creates the most beautiful humus-like soil. And because I'm constantly adding chop and drop, like here, I added this flop and drop of fava beans where I didn't actually chop the plant, but I just bent it over, keeping the plant alive, keeping the pods on the plant to mature. This is going to help to keep the sun from drying out the mound. All around the edges, you see plants like the Egyptian walking onions. We got comfrey, more onions. There's potatoes here. There's other plants that'll still be emerging soon. you can grow plants like the society garlic here, which is drought tolerant, right on the edge. Just helps to keep everything together. And then if you want, like I said, you can add these side walls. I really like how this turned out. But look what I'm able to grow in this raised bed. We've got parsley, tomatoes, longevity spinach, fava beans. We got loofah gourd growing up back here. There's some ground cherries. Lots of purple tree collards. Various beans. Squash like kabocha. Snake beans, more tomato. Mugwort. Armenian cucumbers, cilantro. There's a lot growing in this bed. We've even got a ceanothus right here at the end. And then a new addition this year was to add these cattle panels over the top so I could utilize the airspace and get even more growing on these beds, utilizing that vertical layer. So the calabash gourd, the cucumbers, the Armenian cucumbers, the string beans, everything's going to be crawling up this thing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So for those of you on a budget, or just frugal minded even, and if you like the look of nature, and you're trying to build a raised bed garden, look into hugelkultur. I've made many videos on the process showing you how to build these. What I do as yearly maintenance, which you can take it or leave it. You don't really have to do much to these beds, but if you want to, you can definitely maintain them and keep the levels up. And if you don't have woody products, branches, stumps, that sort of thing, chances are you'll be able to find some for free somewhere. Check on Craigslist. But people want to get rid of stuff like this, and you can utilize it to make raised beds. And although my beds here have flat tops on them, because I've created more of a traditional raised bed style over the years, if you are doing a mound, it's going to create little microclimates on either side of the mound, and as the sun is crossing the sky, you're going to have areas of shade through different parts of the day, so you just observe, and you can really pick and choose where you want to plant certain plants, so it gives you a whole lot of options. Now this bed at one time went all the way across, and I chopped right through it and showed you guys some of the wood that came out of the middle and how sponge-like it had become after all those years of breakdown. And now I've got a little pathway here. I've got an Asian pear right here on the edge of the hugel mound, which it's going to benefit from getting some of the moisture that gets trapped in the mound and all those nutrients that are always breaking down. That's going to be a healthy tree. Another idea when you are creating these mounds is to design it so that you're building these mounds on contour with your landscape. That way you can have a swale, a little ditch that captures water right on the edge of these mounds that will then soak into the trench that you created when you first built these mounds. The most important thing for me when I was building my hugelkultur was the direction of the sun and how it hit my landscape. And that's how I went about deciding exactly where to put mine. Anyway, my friends, I just want you to know, gardening doesn't have to be an expensive endeavor. Anything you do put into it should be looked at as an investment. But nature provides. The abundance is always clear in a garden that is cared for and loved for. Just the planting of a few seeds will provide you with food crops throughout your entire growing season, and then in most situations provide you with hundreds if not thousands of new seeds that you can save to replant and proliferate your favorite crops. We're blessed to live on an abundant planet like this. It's up to us to take advantage of it. If you haven't yet started your garden this year, well, you might want to look into the hugelkultur method. It's a wonderful way to grow. Just ask Rocket. He knows. Isn't hugel culture great? Good boy. All right, everybody, take care. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll be talking to you again real soon. Bye now.